We are doing electromagnetic inductions in continuation only. We have discussed in the previous lecture about the flux phi, magnetic flux, which is equals to B dot A, or we can say BA cos theta. So we have to basically talk about the motional electromotive force, EMF, or that I am going to discuss while discussing with you the methods by which I can change the flux. Like if I want to change the flux, I can change first thing, of course, by changing the magnetic field V. We can do that. We have already discussed in the Faraday's experiment. Direction, etc. also we have already discussed. So we are doing in continuation, as I have said. So this is the main part where we talk about the motional EMF, or how I can produce the induced EMF. Induced EMF or motional EMF is the same thing. If I say motional electromotive force or I say induced EMF, meaning is same. So what it is, this diagram you need to draw, of course. Here what we have taken, I'm just explaining you. And this is of course the second method with you for changing the magnetic flux also. So this is the main important part, which is first part is simply if I change the magnitude of the magnetic field, I can change the flux. This method is most important because this is generally asked as a separate question also. Now what it is that it is, I'm changing the area of this loop. This is, we have taken a rectangular wire. I can say I have made a rectangular loop like you have played with the circular loop for making the bubbles. So bubbles, you make a circular loop. So now we are not taking the circular loop, rather we have a wire and we are making a rectangular loop, and whose one side is movable. It means three sides are fixed and one side is movable. One side is movable with you, and by changing that side, movable side, I can change the area. If I am taking this L as the length of this side, of course this whole rectangular loop should not be in the magnetic field, because if you are putting it stationary, then no change in the flux, and when no change in the flux means no induced EMF. That is your previous knowledge. We have to have a changing magnetic flux to produce the EMF. So I'm just taking it in the field and I'm taking it out. I'm putting it inside the field and I'm moving the sliding part, so that on moving the sliding part you can change the area. L is the length taken. Magnetic field is shown by the equispaced crosses. Crosses means the field is inside into the paper perpendicular to it. I am moving the wire towards the left. Velocity V is there. Then the direction of the force or the induced EMF, if I want to find that. So the same diagram again. Now V is the velocity for the small time dt. If we are talking about, we are moving it in towards left. V is inside. Fleming's right hand rule is there by Lenz's law also, which we have discussed, that is always to oppose the motion. So it will be body is moving inside it, so force will be coming away from it, and that will be the direction of the EMF also, motional EMF, to which we call flux d phi, that is given by B dot A. Here the area, we are taking the small area, that is dA, and this area we can write it as length into breadth this side, r dash s dash, which can be written as V into dt. If for small time you are making this with velocity V or constant speed V, then this distance will be written as V dt, and this distance length is L. So I can write here as length into breadth, so I can write it as L into distance V dt. But I know that induced EMF by Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, that is equals to d phi by dt. Negative sign is given by Lenz law, that you know. So you can put the value for d phi by dt. So it means you will be taking the derivative of BLV dt. So we will be getting it as BLV. Again, negative sign is to show the direction, which is always to oppose the production of the EMF. So direction is negative, and that we can find by using Fleming's right hand rule also. If you are willing to pull this wire and towards right, means outward, then the negative sign will go away. It means you will be left with positive sign. So that is again to show you the direction. So important point is the direction. And for direction, you need to know the Lenz law. Of course, we have already discussed, that is to opposing the cause of the changing flux. And the cause is changing flux is due to the motion increasing the area, so it will be opposed. Or for convenience, now you can keep the right hand rule with you, which is given by Fleming. And what it says, that if you are holding the thumb, your forefinger and the central finger each in a line, then if you are moving the body, that is the force F, this induced current will be in the same direction of the induced EMF, of course. And this is the motion, B is into the paper. So if it is into the paper, it is moving left. So this will be giving me the direction of the induced current, or which can be here it can be anti-clockwise or clockwise. You can see that, and that will be the same as that of your induced EMF. So this you have to keep it in your mind, that central finger is pointing in the direction of induced current. Central finger is pointing in the direction of induced current, that is to be noted. Third method with you for changing the flux is by changing the orientation of the coil. It means this coil, if a rectangular coil, even if I am putting it in the magnetic field shown like this, then if I change the theta, theta is the angle between the magnetic field and the area vector. So if I change the theta, then also I am changing the phi. If I am having n number of turns for this coil, then of course I can find the total magnetic flux is given by NVA cos theta. Now if initially I am saying that time t, body your coil is moving with angular velocity omega, then I can write this formula in terms of cos omega t also, because theta is given by omega t. If you are making it through the coil is rotated along the circular path, because this is going to be a principle with you for doing the electric generator, AC generator, when we talk about how we are producing the AC current. So this formula again we will be using in the next lecture also with you. And here you can keep this formula with you. Phi if it is NBA cos theta. If theta is moving angular velocity is omega, then you can replace theta by omega t. And you can write the formula as NBA cos omega t. When you differentiate it with time, now d phi by dt, NBA is constant. So you have to take the derivative of cos omega t, which is equals to sin omega t into derivative of omega t. Derivative of omega t is omega. So you can write it as minus sin is by Lenz law again. Sorry, minus sin is coming because of this derivative. For derivative of cos omega t is minus sin omega t into omega. So you can write it as NBA omega sin omega t. And by Lenz law, you know EMF it is equals to minus of d phi by dt. So this minus and this minus, they will cancel each other, and I am left with EMF with positive sign, which is of course the induced EMF, NBA omega sin omega t. Now this term NBA omega can be written as E naught because when we see the current in AC, it is a varying current. So it is showing me the sine graph. So which equation which we will be discussing of course in the chapter or next unit years, that is AC. Then we will talk about the induced EMF, we will talk about the induced current, that is of course by changing the flux. That you need to keep in mind that I am able to write E equals to E naught sine omega t, where E naught is a constant. If I am having fixed number of turns, magnetic field is fixed, area is fixed, and omega is also constant. Then this is giving me the maximum value of the EMF. Maximum value of course you can omega t is 0. Sine omega t is 1, it means your theta is 90 degree. So when theta is 90 degree, then you are getting the value is maximum. And when you are having initially if angle is theta and you are further rotating it by 90 degree, then it is 90 plus theta. Then sine of omega t plus pi by 2, you can write it as cos omega t. So I may get the graph as the sine curve, or I may get the graph as cosine curve, depending upon at what rotation we are keeping. And this is going to become the principle when we are getting the three-phase generators with us. We are getting three phases because the coils are kept, one is at a angle theta, then another at 90 plus theta, and further you can keep and different angles, and we can get the different phases. In our houses, you know, we get three phases. So sometimes you must have used this term that this current is not coming in this phase, let us change the phase, because nowadays switches are provided with within your control only. So this knowledge of the changing the flux by changing the orientation is the basic principle in generator. We will discuss when we will talk about these devices in detail, AC generator. This derivation also we can use it directly in the numericals as well as a direct question also it can be asked, that what happens if I am having a conducting rod, it means current carrying rod is there with me, which is rotated in a magnetic field, uniform magnetic field you can write. So what is the value of the motional induced EMF? So this rod PQ is there and it is rotated in the circular path. This is rotated in the circular path. I am assuming that length of this PQ is L. Omega is the angular velocity. Magnetic field B is of course shown by the equispaced crosses. It means perpendicular to its plane and directed into the paper. Then if I am saying that in time t, small t or delta t, you can say it is reaching from point Q to Q dash. The angle turned is alpha. Then area swept, that is given by 1 by 2 L into this arc here QQ dash, which is given by L alpha. By the knowledge of the angle, angle is arc upon radius. So alpha it is equals to this here's QQ dash divided by L. So you can write this value for the area swept, and once area is known to you, you can write the magnetic flux phi, which is equals to BA cos 0, because here the area vector and the, if they are in the same direction, then you are getting the maximum value of flux. So that is always recommended to do so to get the maximum flux. Area is given by half L square alpha. So you can write the value of phi, which is 1 by 2 B L square alpha. And if you want to write induced EMF, then you can write the magnitude I have written simply by writing d phi by dt. If direction is required, then of course you have to use the Lenz's law as always, so as to oppose the increase in the magnetic flux. So that is d by dt, you are taking derivative of half B L square alpha. Now B L square is constant, will be taken out, and d alpha by dt is equals to omega. So epsilon, or simply you can write E, that is the induced EMF, which is given by 1 by 2 B L square omega. And if they ask you to write the value of induced current, then induced current is induced EMF divided by the resistance. So in that case, resistance of this rod should be given to you in the question. But otherwise, the induced EMF and hence induced current is produced whenever there is change in the magnetic flux that was told to you by Faraday after performing his experiments. So that knowledge you have to keep in mind when we are discussing with you the EMI. Now this again, when you are moving the coil, of course the rectangular coil in the uniform magnetic field, then we want to derive the expression for the dissipated power when a conductor is moved in the magnetic field. And of course, if they ask you to prove that this movement is occurring in accordance with the conservation of energy, that also the same mathematics is to be done for that also. So you need to understand this whole mathematics. And of course, we are using the Lenz's law, that is the basic Faraday's laws with us, that is with our previous knowledge. So that basis, again we have performed this experiment. If I move this side AB towards left side, and then what is the value of current if magnetic field is perpendicular inward, you can always use right hand rule, as I have said, to find the direction of the current and hence the induced EMF. So magnetic field is into the paper, motion is this way, so this is going to come out the current. You can always find by using right hand rule. It is coming in the clockwise direction. B we are assuming uniform magnetic field, B we are assuming constant velocity, length AB we are assuming small l. Then induced EMF we have derived, it is coming out to be BL, we have just derived this expression. Now if I assume that if let R is the resistance of this arm AB which we are moving, and of course we are assuming that let other arms have negligible resistance. So only resistance is in this moving arm AB, that is capital R. Then you can write the formula for the induced current, that is given by induced EMF upon resistance. It means BVL upon R. Now according to Lenz's law, we have written the direction of the current. What value of the force is acting on this arm AB, that is you have to find by using left hand rule, which was given by Fleming. If you know the value of the current, you know the value of the field, then force is given to you by the thumb. So that you should be knowing by using the left hand rule. If B is given, current is given, then force can be calculated. Now it is moving in the clockwise direction, current, and field is inside, so this force is in this way opposite to the velocity. Direction of the force is coming opposite to the velocity. It means if it is moving towards left, then force is acting towards right hand side. And the value of the magnitude of the force, which we have already discussed with you by Lorentz force, when we discussed in the magnetic effects of current, we know it can be written as magnetic force can be written as BIL, and the value of I we have calculated BVL by R. So you can put this value BVL by R into L. So we are getting B square L square V upon R. This is the force which is acting in the direction opposite to the velocity. Now what will be the rate of work done in moving this, because this force will come in the opposite direction. If we are saying that we are moving it towards left, then what is the rate of work done? That is power, which is given by force into velocity. So force is b square L square V upon R, and it is to be multiplied with the constant velocity v. I am getting this power. It is equals to b square V square L square upon R. And this is the power which is required to push the conductor with the constant velocity. So what is the heat energy? Heat energy which is appearing in this arm AB, that is given by I square R. So this is the power upon time, you can see, which is again giving you the heat energy, rate of doing. So you will be able to find this which we are getting again. Power is b square L square V square upon R. So either you go by this method of the finding the power, or whatever we have done earlier from first and second equation, you can see that it means the power is same we are getting, which is, it means we are converting the mechanical energy into the electrical energy, and this electrical energy is getting converted into heat. So this is the dissipated power. So it means whatever work we are doing in moving the coil, which is appearing in the form of power which is required to push the conductor, that much is the amount of the power which is dissipated, and as a result you can say in a way that your energy will be same, whatever energy is remaining conserved. Okay, go ahead. This is a question which is taken from your NCERT book only. Now they are giving you the similar type of arrangement like a rectangular coil which is kept in uniform magnetic field, which are equispaced but shown by dots. Dots means the field is acting away from you, away from me, it means outwards and perpendicular to the plane of paper. Let me read the question for you. The arm PQ of the rectangular conductor is moved from x equals to 0, this is x equals to 0, outwards. Earlier in doing the derivations, we were taking it inward. Now they are asking this PQ is moved outward from initial position x equals to 0. The uniform magnetic field is perpendicular to the plane and extends from x equals to 0 to x equals to b. Up to this point, B point, the magnetic field is there, and in this space you can see no magnetic field is there. Only the arm PQ possesses the resistance small r. Consider the situation when the arm PQ is pulled outward from x equals to 0 to x equals to 2b. It means from this position on the left hand side to the right hand side, 2b position, we are moving it with constant speed v. Obtain the expressions for flux, induced EMF, force which is required to pull the arm, and power dissipated as joule. You have to sketch the variation of these quantities with distance. So this whole thing we have discussed in theory, but now the question direction you have to see where it is going. When the field is now away from you, which is shown by the first finger, now it is actually, you have to show it, it is away from you, and this is giving you the motion which is outward. Then this central finger is giving you the direction of the induced EMF and induced current, which will come in the anti-clockwise direction. So you have to see the direction, and otherwise the mathematics we have already discussed. So you should be able to do the graph plotting for this flux with the distance when you are taking outward from 0 to B, then to 2B, then to back to B and to 0. It means we are moving it outward and then inward. So when you are moving it outward, what is happening to the flux? When you are staying in this distance from B to 2B, there is no magnetic field, no change in flux will be there. Flux changes only when you are having the change in the magnetic field. So when you are taking it inward or you are taking it outward, then only flux will be there. And flux is given by V into area. So if they are perpendicular, that is maximum flux you are getting. So you will be getting flux values given BLX for x when lying between 0 to B, and it is equals to BLB when x is equals to greater than B but less than 2B. This is when we are considering it for our convenience. So induced EMF, that is d phi B by dt, you can find that is given by negative of BLV when there is change in the magnetic field, and it will be equals to 0 when there is no change in the field. And here current also you can find, power also you can write V square L square V upon R, and the heat loss also you can write, which is this is the B square L square V, and power is V square L square V square upon R. So these all expressions we have already discussed. So now you have to simply do the graph. So 0 to B, the flux is changing, increasing when you are moving it outward. EMF, it is having minus of BLV, constant value. Force is also having constant value, minus of B square L square V upon R. Power is positive, that is B square L square V square upon. In this area, reason I can say from L to again L coming back from B to 2B and then back to B, there is flux is constant value, which is given by BLB as per the question. And when flux is constant, then of course the induced EMF is 0, force is also 0, power is also 0. And when you are moving back from B to 0 position, then again flux you can see it is decreasing, and this your EMF, it is coming out to be positive, force is also positive, but power is always taken positive. So this way you can always do the graph plotting. This is a very important question because many times asked to derive these values. Simply this first phi flux is given to you and you have to write the values of EMF, force and power, and you are supposed to do the graph plotting for the same when it is moved outward and inward. So question taken for you people. One question is there, I am reading it out for you. A 1 meter long metallic rod is rotated with angular velocity of 400 radian per second. This is omega is given about an axis normal to the rod passing through its one end. The other end is in contact with the circular metallic ring. It means you are just keeping it in the circular path. Constant and uniform magnetic field of 0.5 Tesla parallel to the axis exists everywhere. So it means your maximum value will be again acting. Because they have given you the magnetic field strength is 0.5 Tesla and direction is parallel to the axis. You have to calculate the EMF which is developed between the center and the ring. So the formula for EMF, you know, it is given by V, and V, for finding V you will be doing the average linear velocity, which is initially it is 0 and then you are rotating it. Then you are able to get the V, or simply you can write the value of V here in this formula, which is coming out to be B L square omega by 2. It is the induced EMF, and if you put the value of L, omega and B, you are getting the value of EMF, which is coming out to be 100 volt. So basically you need to remember this formula. Whenever you are getting these type of questions, you can directly use this formula. When a circular, it is rotated in the circular path in the uniform magnetic field. Similar to one more question is there with you. A jet plane is traveling towards west at a speed 1800 km per hour. So direction is given for the motion of the jet plane. What is the voltage difference developed between the ends of the wing having a span of 25 meters? So the length is given, wingspan is given, so length which is moving through the field is given. Earth magnetic field, and of course I think you all are knowing this thing, that earth magnetic field, the cause is the circular currents, rotating current. Magnitude for the earth magnetic field is given, which is again constant, 5 into 10 to the minus 4 Tesla. Dip angle is given to you 30 degrees. So it means when it is moving in the west direction, this you should be able to consider the direction north, south, east, and then west, and then you should be able to see the direction of the magnetic field. Dip angle is given 30 degree. So vertical component we are taking of the earth, which is V sine delta, and that will occur in the direction of this perpendicular to this field here, means the speed of the jet plane. And then you should be able to find the induced EMF, which is again given by BL. L is given, V is given, and VB we are using vertical component to find the voltage which is developed between the ends of the wings, which is coming out to be 3 into 3.125 volt in the coming class. So you keep things up to this. Thank you everyone.